What? Season 6 of Trashy Divorces.
Season no rules.
No rules at all. Welcome back to Trashy Divorces. I'm Stacie.
Hi, friends. I'm Alicia. It's good to see you there.
It is good to see you there.
We're back for season 6.
No rules.
No rules. This is so different. We're recording our intro first. We always record our intro last, but we're recording it first today because
no rules.
This whole season, we're picking 2 ideas out of 2 cups at the end of every episode. We did this last week on our little bonus drop.
Mm-hmm.
And
who did? Yeah, let's talk about what that resulted in. And you're going first this week, I think so.
I am going first. I drew America's arguably most famous architect, Frank Lloyd Wright. And it is so trashy, Stacie.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Huh.
Oh, yeah. It's good.
It's funny how, I mean, you just don't think of people like that and go, ooh, trash bag. Charles Dickens, for instance, like, trash bag.
Oh, keep your socks on or
All right.
off, because, whoa.
Well, mine is one that I think everyone looks at and thinks trash bag, as well as a bunch of other probably more positive things, and that is Tiger Woods.
Oh, yes.
Trash bag.
So the one thing, it's season no rules. Like, I don't have a song for this one.
I do.
Oh, what?
We're doing Eye of the Tiger. But 80s spectacular.
Who is that Survivor?
Sounds right.
Done.
We'll edit if
Done.
not.
Eye of the Tiger. Perfect.
There's going to be this weird insert of like, it was.
No, I'm pretty confident that's Survivor.
Okay.
I mean, it's the thrill of the fight.
I mean, I've heard that.
Standing up to the challenge of our rivals.
All right, let's talk about Patreon.
Oh my gosh, what a fun few weeks over there. In our season break, what's happened? Trashy Tutors, we had a Best of Hardwick, which was really cool.
Mm-hmm. I have the, trashy divorce of Aldo Motto, former U.S. Senator.
This week, the trashiest thing I've ever heard was the
vegan vixen and the con man.
Woo! So good. We wrapped up Ocean's 11 with Natalie Wood.
Mm-hmm. And we have, keep in mind if you're casting around for more stuff to listen to while
have a little bit more free time.
Yeah. While we're all, doing this weird thing we're doing, you can go to bit.ly/trashcandyquarantine to get a bunch of stuff that we pulled from behind the paywall over on the Patreon. And what are some of those?
Oh, Lord, free trash candy, a whole expose about the Garden of Allah Hotel, some bonus trashy divorces. We've got all of our trashy tidbits are going up there as well. Fun with Done 101 went up last week. The first Ocean's 11. It's so good.
Yeah, there's some side pieces.
This week, I think I'm going to add Fun with Done 102 about Anais Nin, Truman Capote, and you really liked this story when we talked about Dominic Dunn's novel, The Two Mrs. Grenvilles. This was the murder of Billy Woodward.
Right, that was a good one.
It was a good story.
I mean, it's trashy. It's scandalous. Okay.
I'm putting the dirty digs up about the Mayan Hodel murder house where maybe the Black Dahlia was murdered, which was designed by Frank Lloyd Wright's son. I was stumbling all over to this trashy divorce weeks ago because I got down that rabbit hole. Anyway, we're going to have some more fun stuff dropping for you adjacent to this episode.
Yep.
So be sure to check that out at
bit.ly/trashcandyquarantine. And do you want to kick off the magic mirror with our thanks and praise?
Who's in the magic mirror this week with all of our love and thanks and praise? We have some new patrons.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler H., Emily P., Meredith H., Laura V., Courtney K.,
Madeline G., Wendy O.H., Lenny W., Chris W., Lydia W. I swear to God, when we get I'm like, oh, they're all related.
They're
the
all
W
related.
family. Okay. Alistair C., Sarah L., and Sarah.
With an H.
With an H.
Well, different than Sarah L.
Sure. And we have some super supporters.
We do a big shout out to Claire and Erica S. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you to our new patrons. Thank you to our existing patrons. Thank you to the 1,200 people who've gone to check out that
it's
free
true.
trash candy link. So,
yeah. Patreon has notoriously terrible analytics, but that bit.ly link has really good analytics.
If you need a few hundred hours to waste, we got you over on the Patreon.
All right. So without further ado, would you like to kick off season 6 here, Alicia?
I'm ready to go.
Awesome. Cue the music. Alicia, you have a titan of American architecture. Is that more or less what's going on here?
Good Lord, this story was far trashier than I knew. Listener suggested story many, many, many moons ago. Our friend Amy P. Siegel really wanted me to cover this trashy divorce, and it is the gift that keeps on giving. I've got spider webs for days coming on Patreon that spin out of here. I had no idea that it was that trashy. The song I heard in my head doing this was the Here I Dreamt It was an Architect song by the Decemberists.
Excellent
used
band.
in the How I Met Your Mother episode, which leads me back to my hint, because Ted Mosby, architect.
Right.
See?
We left a hint in the last episode.
Okay. Arguably the greatest American architect, Frank Lloyd Wright. This is a story of his trashy divorces. There are 2 of them, as well as the other 5 trashy divorces that go along with his 2, and some true crime adjacent bits, and some remarkably hypocritical behavior of the highest order. I don't know if you're ready.
Let's go and see.
This guy,
Let's jump in.
Frank's mother.
Like falling water.
Oh, look at you, fancy. Frank's mom, Anna, her family is from Wales, West Wales, in fact, and the Lloyd Joneses are very proud of being Welsh. Mom, Anna, is born there. The whole family are devout believers in Unitarianism. That is the keystone of their life. I'm like, all right, Unitarianism, let's talk about it. What's the tenet of that religion? Unitarianists believe that God is one person, unlike Catholics who believe in the Trinity.
Okay.
Right? That Catholics are like, we believe in the Trinity. There's God, there's Jesus, and there's the Holy Spirit, and they're all manifestations of God.
I was going to say, but it's all one aspect because these are technically monotheistic faiths. It's all very confusing to outsiders.
So
anyway.
Unitarianism is like, nah, that's God is one person. Jesus was a messenger of God. It was just a man who followed the belief there's only one God. Unitarians reject original sin, predestination, and the infallibility of the Bible.
Okay.
They celebrate the magnificence of nature. People have individual freedoms, and they can choose themselves where the nature of God and man are. They're not dictated by words in the Bible.
Okay.
The Lloyd Joneses are hardworking but low-paid people. And by 1844, the Lloyd Jones family is looking for a life that's a little bit more free than the one they're living in West Wales.
Did they try East Wales by any chance?
The whole family, including Mom Anna, moves to North America.
They get on a boat.
They eventually end up in Wisconsin. They buy property. They kind of set up a family compound. Anna is working as a school teacher and meets a dude named William Carey Wright, who is the superintendent of the county schools. And Frank Lincoln Wright is born June 8th, 1867.
Is he named for Abe?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
He's going to drop the Lincoln, though. Hold on. We're going to talk about it. So let me tell you a little bit about Mama Anna. She is convinced from the time little Frank is in her womb that this child will grow up and build beautiful buildings. So she will decorate his room with magazine pages of buildings and cathedrals.
What an unusual... I mean, because every parent is like, ooh, my kid's going to be a doctor.
My kid's going to be an architect.
Going to be a scholar. My kid's going to build buildings.
Well, she manifests this enough and plants the dream in the kid, which, surprise, you won that game, Mama Anna.
Yeah.
Encourages the dream. At the age of 14, Frank's parents are getting a divorce, 1884. Dad William sues for a divorce from Anna on the grounds of emotional cruelty and physical violence and spousal abandonment.
Wow.
Frank says he will never see his father again. He will drop the Lincoln as the L and pick up Lloyd, his maternal lineage name. That story doesn't sound so great. Not the story I'm here to tell. The parents' trashy divorce. Okay, so 15, Frank graduates high school. It's 1885. He's going to go on to attend the University of Wisconsin-Madison.
Go Badgers, I'm guessing.
Yeah, go Badgers. Well, Frank joins, hold on, this is a fun part, Phi Delta Theta fraternity. And the only reason I bring this up is Phi Delta Theta is the brother fraternity to my sorority,
Right.
Delta Gamma. Anchored for life, yeah. So Frank is doing his thing. He is going to leave the University of Wisconsin-Madison without a degree, because I'm not sure if you know about the city called Chicago, just right there. It's really close.
There's a whole musical about it.
They're building these things called skyscrapers.
Right.
Yeah, like Chicago is the place to be if you are a budding wannabe architect.
Yeah, quick shout out to Devil in the White City, which gets into how the soil was all wrong. There's this whole thing about how you have to build, like, what you have to do to build a skyscraper in Chicago, and fascinating. Anyway, yes. Continue.
So, young Frank, looking to make good, gets an apprenticeship with a leading architect in Chicago, and that leads to, like, a paying gig, and can't stop, won't stop. We'll meet wife number 1, Catherine, who goes by Kitty. She's born March 25th. She's an Aries. They meet at a costume party for the All Souls Unitarian Church in Hyde Park on Chicago's South Side. They court for 2 years. In 1889, when Kitty is 18 and Frank is 21, woohoo, they get married.
Wow, they met. So she was 16 when they met.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, he was also a youngin'. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, but traditional courtship.
Sure.
They marry. In no time flat, there's a kid on the way. Frank borrows money from his boss to buy some land in Oak Park, Illinois.
Okay.
It is said that Oak Park is where the saloons end and the steeples begin. It's all very respectable. But Frank is revolted by the homes that are there. The homes surrounding him are these like Victorian numbers, and he's just not
I see.
impressed.
All right. So he finds it all very uninspired and uninspiring. Okay.
So he goes about designing and building their home in Oak Park, which is really kind of amazing. Like, it had to have looked almost supernatural at the time. Like, it's definitely a Frank Lloyd Wright building, but it's open concept before open concept was a thing. Like, you see this Unitarianism coming out. We're all equal. Like, rooms are shared. It's a very different sort of, I don't know, it's interesting. You see it in all of his work. I don't know. It's based all within this communal feeling. I've been on a Trashy building tour of everything that exists that I can look at that he's done, and it's kind of an interesting home.
Right.
Anyway, things are going great enough. Frank and Kitty gonna have 5 more kids. Total of 6 kids. Kitty has a little kindergarten in the home, and all the
it sounds like she's trying to stock it with students.
Well, like, all the neighborhood kids come to kindergarten because she's a school teacher, right? She's in these women's groups, and in these women's groups, she meets women. Met this very nice lady once, Mama. She's gonna come back. Frank opens his own firm, and awesome. He gains some extra notoriety when the Unity Church in the town is hit by lightning. It burns to the ground in 1905, and Frank is chosen to build the new building. So now he's a commercial builder as well. Okay. He's going to end up building about 50 homes in Oak Park during this time. He's the guy to get.
So if you want a cool house in Oak Park, you go to him.
You go to him, but there are a lot of rules. He doesn't just design your home.
Oh, you don't mean like the community has a lot of rules.
No, Frank Lloyd Wright has a lot of rules.
He won't work with just anyone. He
won't work with just anyone. He will make your plans, but he also designs the furniture for your home as well.
Kind of cool.
Super cool. But if, he stops by and that furniture's not where he wants it to be, he will rearrange your home.
Oh, so he'll just
drop
in
and make sure everything is to his specifications. There's also this one fun time that he has designed a home and the furniture in Oak Park, but he also designs a dress for the woman, the wife of the home, to wear for the housewarming party because the dress goes with the aesthetic and she can't wear anything. Okay, this guy is maybe a fucking control freak.
Is it a good dress, do we know?
It's not bad.
Okay.
Matches the house.
Matches the house.
I mean, he's like Barney Stinson. He's going to teach you how to live
in his home.
In his home and like not set a shining example. So, poor Kitty. Kitty meets this nice lady, Mama, and she and her husband are in the market for a home. Hey, my husband, Frank, designs 50 houses in Oak Park.
Why don't you guys come by for dinner sometime?
Frank meets Edwin Cheney and his wife, Mama. And Mama is kind of a modern woman. She's an early feminist. And by 1903, Frank is like, hey, Mama, you're the woman of my dreams. Too bad you're already married. And Mama's like, psh, I don't think that matters. Let's have a tour at a fair. And scandalized the entire town for years. Their fair begins in 1903. Poor Kitty. Like for 6 years, they carry on in Oak Park. They are riding carriages together. There are secret dalliances. Everybody in the town knows.
Not a secret dalliance at all. It's
for 6 years.
Look at us.
Look at us. We're poor Kitty.
Poor
right?
Kitty. And the poor children. And
okay, so wait. By 1909, Frank and Mama are like, we've had enough of this. And so they take off and head to Europe and leave Kitty and the 6 kids. Like it wasn't enough that you carried on in front of the whole town, but now you take off with her. Way to uphold your responsibilities.
I'm sure he left a bunch of money though, right?
Not exactly. So Mama's husband, Edwin, is like, this is unbelievable. He'll divorce Mama quickly. He's out. You made your choice. Kitty will not divorce Frank. She's going to remain firm, hard no on this one. In 1910, there is an attempt at a brief reconciliation. It doesn't happen. Kitty and Frank are done. 1910. Just keep that year in the back of your head.
Okay.
Okay, this is where Kitty is kind of a badass. Kitty begins working with Jane Addams' Hull House in Chicago.
Okay.
Working with Jesse Binford's Juvenile Protective Association. Kitty is devoted to the suffrage movement. She was active in the Red Cross during World War I. Both of her parents will die within weeks of each other in 1916, so she will take this inheritance and move to East Division Street with her 4 youngest kids in 1919. Still not divorced.
Okay.
Frank and Mama come back to the States, and in 1911, Frank's mom, Anna, buys the land next to hers in Wisconsin, and Frank begins building a home, a love nest, a love bungalow for Mama and her kids called Taliesin.
Right, I've heard of this.
Okay. It's all coming together. Frank has his girl and her kids, and our home is beautiful, and I am a man fulfilled. I'm a man undivorced.
I was going to ask, is it because his parents divorced that he didn't want to put his children
Kitty won't give him a divorce.
Okay, gotcha.
Kitty's just like, no, dude, you married me.
Yeah.
I'm because it gets so bad. I mean, you cheated on me in the open. You've moved with your mistress to Europe. Now you're buying her a house. How outlandish is your behavior going to get?
I mean, so far we're pretty good.
Frank feels like it's all coming together, but friends, it was not coming together at all. So here we come to the true crime part of our story. And this one is national headlines in the summer and fall of 1914. This story, if it sounds familiar to you, was also told by Lorelai Gilmore in the Let the Games Begin episode when Emily is losing it about the walnuts in the salad, and Lorelai tells the story of Frank Lloyd.
Okay. Little Gilmore Girls trivia there. Okay.
Anyway, Lorelai gets some of it right, but let's talk about what really happened. August 1914. Frank is out of town. He's finishing the Midway Gardens. And he has already made plans to release from his service this dude named Julian Carlton. He's 31 years old. He had come to work as a chef at Taliesin for the summer. But that whole summer, Julian gets weirder and weirder. Like staying up at night looking out the window and stroking his knife weirder and weirder. So Frank and Mama are like, yeah, this guy needs to go. So they put out an advertisement in the paper for his replacement. And they say like, hey, August 15th is your last day, dude.
He took it well.
Julian did not take it well, friends, at all. And it is said, this is the term for it from the vernacular of the day, he runs amok. At lunchtime, he locks Mama and her 2 kids and the other servants who were eating lunch in the home, locks them inside the house, runs around Taliesin, throwing petrol around the home and sets fire to Taliesin, leaving the people inside to make their way out of a burning home where Julian is waiting with an axe. And he hatchets 7 people to death, including Mama and her 2 kids aged 11 and 9.
Oh my God.
Julian will swallow hydrochloric acid immediately afterward, trying to kill himself, which he doesn't do. That doesn't work. The kid is almost, like he's not a kid, sorry. The dude is almost lynched on the spot, but ends up getting taken to the county lockup, where he will starve himself in like 7 weeks. He will never say anything about his motivation or reasoning behind the murders.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm. Horrible. Horrible.
7 people, including 2 children?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So Frank, still married to Kitty, is disconsolate with grief.
You think?
All of my dreams are done. This loss is devastating.
Oh, I don't know how you would ever get over.
When?
Just what a horror show. Ugh.
Hold up. You want to go ahead and take your socks off now?
Okay.
Because a few days after this horrible thing, Frank gets a letter from a gal named Maud Noel. Miriam is what she goes by. She's born on May 9th. She's a Taurus gal. Within weeks, they are carrying on an affair.
Well, I guess that's one way to move past the brutal murder of 7 humans that you were close to.
This is a year later, November 28th, 1915. There's an article published by the Detroit Free Press.
And it's called, What the Hell is Wrong with Frank Lloyd Wright Anyway?
Oh, hold on. No, this is where it gets bad. Okay. So, Taliesin is rebuilt. Okay, so this is upon the rebuilding of Taliesin.
By the way, can I ask you about that name? Is that Welsh, or something? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Headline: The love letters of the new companion of Love Bungalow, Taliesin, is open again. Frank Lloyd Wright, architect, artist, eccentric philosopher, romancer, and seeker after the absolute, so christened his bizarre and beautiful country home on the Wisconsin River near Spring Green, Wisconsin, after Taliesin, son of Saint Henwig, chief of the bards in the time of King Arthur.
Okay, thanks.
Their life together has already been marred by Mrs. Nellie Breen, a discharged servant who stole Mrs. Noel's letters to Wright and sold them to a newspaper. To destroy the liaison for the benefit of Wright's children, she said, Mrs. Breen sent federal investigators on the affair, hoping to base prosecution on violation of the Mann Act.
Sorry.
What the hell, right?
M-A-N-N?
The Mann Act.
How about just the Mann Act?
No, the Mann Act in its original form made it a felony to engage in interstate or foreign commerce transport of any woman or girl for the purpose of prostitution or debauchery or any other immoral purpose. This is not the only time the Mann Act is going to come into play. Okay. So all of Miriam's letters, Mrs. Noel's letters, are sold to the press, man. Here, feds.
This guy needs to stop hiring help.
You're not kidding.
Like,
there are walnuts in the salad. I have an excerpt of this letter. It's trashy. But long story short, Miriam and Frank are involved in no time flat. This is 1915. In November of 1915, Miriam is quoted in the Chicago Daily Tribune saying, "Frank Wright and I care nothing for what the world may think. We are as capable of making laws for ourselves as were the dead men who made the laws by which they hope to rule the generations after them." They don't care. After 7 years of this nonsense, of Frank and Miriam carrying on, by 1922, Kitty's like, "Fine, I'll give you your damn divorce." But I'm Kitty, and I'm going to be a little damn petty about it.
I just won the right to vote, and so you go do whatever you want.
Well, that's it. But hold on, I'm going to put a restriction on it. You have to wait 1 year to remarry. Okay. So Frank's waiting around till 1923, which is also the same year that Mom Anna dies. So I think Frank is dealing with some definite grief because Anna's pushed him around since birth. Like, Anna is always the powerful figure in that she lives next door to him.
I was going to say,
home he ever has.
His mom and neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
So there's some grief there. But going back to Kitty, Kitty's like, "Fine, 1922, I give you a divorce." Sure enough, 1 year later, November 19th, 1923, Miriam and Frank get married. A year to the day, like after the divorce is granted. Frank will explain in his autobiography that he will marry Miriam to rescue their relationship.
Nope.
He says, marriage resulted in ruin for both. Instead of improving with marriage, as I had hoped, our relationship became worse. Friends, it does. Because I haven't talked about the fact that Miriam is addicted to morphine.
Okay, not great, but it sounds like Frank Lloyd Wright is not really in it for the long haul in his relationships.
A year later, by 1924, Miriam is walked out of Taliesin.
Okay,
1924.
Feeling no pain. No, I'm sorry, that was in bad taste.
Miriam walks out of Taliesin. Frank will hot-foot it down to Chicago one night, where the Petrograd Ballet is performing. And he will meet Olga Vana Lazovich. Olga.
A dancer.
It doesn't matter that she's married.
Oh my God.
Or 30 years younger.
Why would it?
By 1925, she's moving into Taliesin.
Oh my God.
Hold on.
And he's still married, yeah? Is he still married to a second wife?
He's still married, yeah. In April of that year, hold on. In April of that year, there is another fire that burns down Taliesin. This time, it's newly installed telephone system wires, apparently, that were to blame. I mean, it's a good thing you're a builder. You've had the opportunity to build this home a bunch. Okay, 1925, also a big year, because that year, married Olga in December gives birth to Frank's love child.
Yeah, that seems in keeping with everything we've heard so far.
Miriam's mad. Miriam walked out.
Wife number 2, morphine addiction.
Yes.
She's mad. Okay.
Miriam's mad. She files for divorce in 1925 as well, alleging desertion and cruelty.
Did she not know about the first wife?
I mean, now there's a love child. Okay. By spring of 1926, Frank is photographed with the love child. And Miriam is so pissed. She's going to head back to court in 1926. She does this a few times. I've pulled this from May 20th, 1926. This is from the Chicago News Bureau. Efforts to settle outside of court the differences between Frank Lloyd Wright, internationally known high art architect and adventurer in love, and his wife, Maud Miriam Noel Wright, failed today, and their divorce suit before Judge A.C. Hopman was started shortly after noon at Madison, Wisconsin. Wright, in his bill, charges desertion, and in a countercharge, Mrs. Wright charges him with an affair with Madame Olga Milanoff, pretty Montenegrin dancer. In his love citadel at Green Spring, Wisconsin.
Love Citadel.
The couple,
That's my new
through
band
their
name.
attorneys, were prepared to settle. But when the differences in opinion as to the amount of alimony Wright should pay was brought up, a hitch developed, and the fight is just as spirited as ever. Okay, also in this time, Miriam's lost her fucking mind. She tries to take Taliesin back by force. That fails too.
Wow.
The bank...
Bold.
Oh my God. So Frank gets this commission, and with the commission, there's more to this coming. He buys all this Oriental art, which burns in Taliesin. So his entire paycheck just went up in $500,000 of antique. Okay. The bank is going to foreclose on Taliesin even after it's rebuilt. Here's another trashy part. Frank rents this cottage in 1926 in Lake Minnetonka, but he gets arrested because they think he's breaking and entering or something. And Miriam is like, hell yes, this is great. We got him now. So she's waiting for instructions from her lawyer, hanging out in a hotel room in Chicago, I guess doing more morphine too. Never hears from her lawyer, or does, and she disappears. It's national news. Nobody knows where Miriam is. She skips out on the hotel bill of $1,500. She reappears in February 1927 in California. Hold on. February 1st. This is the headline from the San Francisco paper. This is an international newsreel photograph and the text that goes with it. Love's eternal triangle. Missing mate found in San Francisco. Present wife, but not the mate of Frank Lloyd Wright. Noted architect Miriam Noel Wright has been found here. The first trace of her since her disappearance from Chicago last December. She is firm in her determination not to permit Wright to obtain a divorce. This is national
This has everything.
Scandal. Okay.
Yeah, this is like, okay.
Okay, so I think that
There's
Miriam...
some super excited journalist
So
like on
good.
vacation in San Francisco is like, oh, I know who that is.
So good. So Miriam heads out to California because Frank and Olga have been spending a lot of their time in California. Frank is now in Hollywood doing commissions. The Ennis house, the house that was used in Blade Runner.
Okay.
That's the Ennis house. There's a whole Dirty Digs I researched that was adjacent to the Hodel murder house. Anyway, Miriam during this time will actually sue Olga. Olga's husband is going to take Olga to court for custody of the kid they already have, who's a whole different spider web. Anyway, Miriam's writing obscene letters. There are, again, additional counter charges. It cannot stay out of the press, and ETA, everyone's the asshole. Everyone's acting badly. Okay. Oh, there's another arrest of Frank and Olga where they are arrested for violation of the Mann Act. Again. But the charges were dropped. Like, this is front page news. These three in their annex, are 1926, 1927 trash sidewalk candy.
Sure.
Okay. The divorce between Miriam and Frank is finally granted in 1927. Here's the headline. Goodbye trouble, hello art. Admitting cinema ambitions and hinting at movie offers, Mrs. Frank Lloyd Wright quietly left San Francisco for Hollywood, Chicago, Paris, and points east. The divorced wife of the famous Chicago architect, who has filled columns of newspaper space in her legal tilt with her noted husband, has been in San Francisco more than 6 months. For a time, she was penniless, hungry sometimes, and unable to pay her rent, she said. But a few weeks ago, she was given more than $30,000 and a substantial allowance in granting her husband a divorce.
God, in the late 20s, that is a healthy chunk of change.
Frank and Olga take off to Puerto Rico for a few months of R&R. You know, they're tired of the legal battles. Okay, so, holy cats. The divorce is granted like earlier that year. Miriam's still not done dogging Olga and Frank. In July of that year, she will track them down and trash their home. Just pull like a...
What is...
So even after the divorce is done, she still does a breaking and entering and destruction of property. Yeah.
Is he liked by his clients? Like, is he... I know that he's a celebrated architect, but like the people who know him who are not his wives or mistresses, like, do they respect him? Is he like a fun guy to hang out with?
We're going to talk about it. Okay. There's a whole spinoff that we're going to do on Patreon this week that's a follow-up. We're going to get there.
Okay.
Concentrate on the story is...
Hey, it's trashy divorces.
Amazing. Okay. Frank and Olga will marry in La Jolla.
La Jolla!
1 year to the day from the granting of Miriam's divorce.
No, this guy.
Oh my God. So after some financial wrangling, they get back Taliesin. Olga and Frank will remain married until Frank's death in 1959 at the age of 91.
Okay, so they actually had a very long marriage.
Very long marriage.
Okay.
That's technically the end of the trashy divorces.
Okay.
But seriously, there's this whole other trashy arc. Okay, because 1929, right?
Yeah.
Frank's in his early 60s.
Something happened there.
Frank is so scandalized that no one will hire him. He is in his early 60s. And hell, if this guy doesn't reinvent himself yet again by having this glorious third act. We're going to cover it and some adjacent trash this week on Dirty Digs when we talk about Falling Water, the country cottage of the Kaufmans in Pennsylvania, because, whoa. There was so much associated trash with this story. Thank you, Amy P. Siegel. This story is the gift that keeps on giving. I love it so much. One other quick follow-up on the sad story of Kitty, first wife, before we get to trash cans.
I was wondering.
Kitty will remarry in 1930 to a dude named Benjamin Page. He's a retired Chicago businessman. For the first few years, they're living on a farm out in the country, but within 3 years, Kitty's back in the city. She's a city girl. She's not a farm girl. They'll divorce in 1937. Kitty will kind of travel around from 37 to 45, spending time with her kids in various locations. She will finally settle in 1945 in California. In her later years, Kitty will suffer many health problems and will live her last decade in a sanitarium, dying in March of 1959, 3 weeks before Frank dies.
Wow.
Trash cans.
Wow.
Frank and Kitty, 22. Solid 22 straight up trash cans, which is the number of years of the marriage before the divorce. Actually,
did he maintain relationships?
I could probably go 12. 12 trash cans, which is after it was over the amount of years she made him wait for a divorce.
Fair.
Okay, 12.
Fair. Did he retain relationships with his kids?
Yes.
Okay, because I was wondering if maybe she moved, maybe the kids sort of made their way.
Frank Lloyd Wright Jr. sets up in Italy for a while, and when Frank Sr. and Mama are in Italy, they stay with him. I think it's all... They invented It's Complicated about Frank Lloyd Wright.
Sounds like, whew.
12 trash cans for that one. I'm good on that. It was bad, but it's typical, right? After many happy years of marriage, a lot of kids, you get bored with your wife, you have a mistress, you leave the, responsible wife and kids.
Yes, it's a story we've told before, sure.
Tale as old as time, right? Okay. The divorce with Miriam...
Worse.
Whoa. That was like the legitimate scandal of the mid-1920s. I am going, this is bold, with 1,500 trash cans.
Okay.
Which was the amount of dollar bills that the hotel bill
right.
was for Miriam when she
ran
skipped out in Chicago and disappeared in the nationwide manhunt for Where is Miriam?
Okay.
1,500.
Wow.
Whoa.
Okay.
Those are the trashy divorces of Frank Lloyd Wright.
All right.
Thank you, Amy P. Siegel. That was
that
was a ride.
Yeah, I kind of thought you were going to tell me that after his second family got butchered that he turned over a new leaf, but I guess not.
Oh, we have so much more to talk about.
No leaves.
No, there's a Taliesin that's built out in the West. There's a grifting scheme where he gets children of influential, wealthy people to come work for free for him.
That's cool.
Now, this story is the gift that keeps on giving. We're going to have so much fun on Patreon.
Okay. All right.
That's all I got. Let's take a break. Let's hear a word from our sponsor.
We think.
And then come back with Aya the Tiger.
Ha.
Let's do this.
Back in a minute.
Stacie, I will be taking time for my self-care at 11 o'clock on Monday. Guess what's happening?
Did you follow up with your BetterHelp counselor?
I did. The thing with BetterHelp, you do this easy survey. It matches you with a great counselor. And if that counselor isn't the one for you, you can change at no cost. I, luckily, have found my perfect therapist. I love her so much.
Mm-hmm. So wherever you are, BetterHelp can connect you with a professional counselor online. You can chat via secure video or telephone. You can chat and text with your therapist. And once you sign up with BetterHelp, you can start communicating with your therapist in under 24 hours on your desktop, mobile web, Android, and iOS app.
Here's the thing. Mental health is a big deal. And whatever you're working through, I guarantee BetterHelp has counselors who can help you. Family conflict, stress, anxiety, depression, overcoming trauma. Maybe you need to work through something. Maybe you just want a little check-in on how your mental health is doing. Your BetterHelp counselor is there.
We are very happy to be able to give you a little break on
We love a discount.
We love a discount.
We love a coupon, as we say in the South.
So you can get 10% off your first month of BetterHelp by visiting our special URL at betterhelp.com/trashy.
Affordable option. It costs less than typical therapy options. Betterhelp.com/trashy is your place to go for reckoning out your mental health in 2020.
betterhelp.com/trashy.
It's a coupon. So, Stacie, you've got the trashy divorce of a golf phenom champion this week.
It's the Eye of the Tiger. I really wish we had a budget for music. That would be so great.
It'd be so much better than us singing
I
it.
would totally just play it in. Anyway, yes. We've had a lot of requests for this one. I am certainly not going to argue that it's not a goodie. Ladies, gentlemen, NBs, and captive partners to all, it is my great pleasure to bring you not a hole-in-one guy, the Tiger Woods story.
Oh.
Okay, let's stipulate that Tiger Woods is one of the greatest golf players of all time. Okay.
He's a goat.
He was a child prodigy whose first appearance in Golf Digest occurred when he was 5 years old.
It's amazing.
He won the under 10 category at a competition when he was 6.
Whoa.
And then he won the 9 and 10 boys group at the Junior World Golf Championships when he was 8.
Wow.
That was the youngest bracket that they had. So I'm not sure why they let an 8-year-old in, but
he's talented.
He's talented. And he would go on to win that tournament 6 times as a junior player.
Holy cats.
So a little bit of bio before we move to his adult accomplishments and misconduct. Okay. So Tiger is perhaps less well known as Eldrick Taunt Woods. He was born December 30th, 1975. Capricorn.
Yeah, Capricorn baby.
You have some thoughts on Capricorn men, I believe, having to do with them being very forthright and focused.
Mm-hmm.
That is Tiger Woods. He grew up in Orange County, California. His father, Earl, had met his mother. I'm probably going to mispronounce this, and so my apologies, but I think it is Kultita.
Okay.
In her native Thailand while he was deployed there in 1968 as part of the Vietnam War. So his parents collectively are like a genetic United Nations. So his dad claims African American, Chinese, and Native American ancestry, and his mother is Thai, Chinese, and Dutch. So I'm pretty sure if Tiger did a 23andMe test,
I was about to say,
just break their system. Anyway, it's very cool. So he came up with just to describe his own personal sense of his ethnicity. He calls himself, or did when he was much younger, I don't think this comes up so much anymore, but he calls himself Cablinasian, or Caucasian, Black, American Indian, and Asian.
Fantastic.
So his dad was an accomplished amateur golfer, an athlete. And because of his military career, he had access to the Navy course at Joint Forces Training Base in Los Alamitos.
Is this some Imago happening?
Well, it was Tiger's home course as a kid. So yeah, Tiger, at the age of 11, beat his dad at golf for the first time. And Earl...
that had to feel good.
Yeah, Dad Earl says that he never, ever won another game against his son. Yeah.
Take my club, son. It's yours now.
I pass the torch. When Tiger was 15 in 1991, he became the youngest U.S. junior amateur champion, a record that would hold until 2010.
Yeah, he shot on the scene.
Oh, yeah. He became the first two-time winner of that competition the next year.
Wow.
So suffice it to say, when young Tiger Woods, when the Tiger Cub finished up with high school, colleges were super excited.
Oh, yeah.
That he was on the market. So he picked Stanford, which had a very, top-notch golf program. I'm sure that he never, ever, ever brags about going to Stanford. And he won a ton of amateur competitions and awards during his 2 years there. And in 96, realizing, this is my career. Nobody's going to ask me if I have a bachelor's in economics.
I can make a lot more money.
Yeah, so he drops out of school. He leaves California to evade its taxes, and he started raking in huge, huge amounts of money. He inked sponsorship deals with Nike and the golf ball manufacturer whose name is spelled Titliest, and I'm certain that is pronounced...
Titleist?
Is it?
Maybe.
We tick the box for bad language on our podcast, so Titliest. These were the highest dollar endorsement deals.
I don't think that's it.
Titliest.
But we'll go with it.
They are the titliest golf balls out there. Anyway, these were the highest dollar endorsement deals in golf history. Again, this guy's 20.
We're going to get so many letters this week from golf fans. This was like after tennis. This is awesome.
Right. Worth noting, I know nothing about golf. I've never played golf. I'm just borrowing from print media here.
I went on a lovely date once where we played golf.
Okay. I've played putt-putt.
I'm not good. Oh, I'm great at putt-putt.
Is it like that?
Not exactly. There's more riding around in the cart and drinking, and washing the golf balls is really fun.
Okay.
I haven't told you about the time I crashed the golf cart into the tree when I was 5. None of this is important. Go.
You were on a date when you were 5?
No, this was when I was little at the Anniston Country Club. We'll cut all of that.
Awesome. All right. In 1997, he became the youngest player ever to win the Masters at the age of 21.
Oh, whoa.
2 months later, he landed the number 1 ranking in pro golf, and that was the fastest rise to the top in the sport's history.
Phenom.
All was not sunbeams for Cub Tiger, however. So as a child, he apparently overcame stuttering. And now, just at the outset of his career, he's already just such a bankable sports property. His eyesight was deteriorating. So in 1999, he goes in, I guess it's laser eye surgery. I'm guessing this is LASIK.
Okay.
This is a super risky, can you imagine the conversations that must have been had?
Yeah, if it doesn't go great.
Well, he picked up a new sponsor, and that was the TLC Laser Eye Centers.
Oh, fantastic. Guess it went well.
Successfully corrected his vision. I think he's had this done, in the late 2000s as well.
Nice.
His eyesight, again, got weird. I guess, contact lenses, maybe not ideal. You'd hate to be on the course and something gets under your lens or what, it seems like when people have trouble with a contact lens, it's really debilitating. And anyway, whatever. So lasers, it's very sci-fi. 99, he had 8 wins.
Whoa.
Including the PGA Championship. And in 2000, he followed it up with 6 consecutive PGA Tour wins, the longest winning streak since 1948.
Whoa.
He won the U.S. Open that year by a 15-stroke margin.
That's a bunch.
Breaking or tying 9 tournament records, and took home an $800,000 check for his efforts.
That's a lot of smackaroos.
It is a lot of smackaroos. He was 24 And he was the youngest golfer ever to earn the career Grand Slam by winning all the major tournaments on the circuit in the same year.
Wow.
It was the following year, while his career continued to unfold like a heady rose, that his life would change. And this is where we park young Tiger Woods at the Trashy Divorces Depot. Choo-choo. Meanwhile, far, far away in Stockholm, Sweden,
Oh.
a Swedish politician and a Swedish journalist welcomed a pair of baby girls into the world on January 1st, 1980. The perfect New Year, New Decade gift for them.
Double Capricorns.
They'd end up divorcing later, but...
Have fun, Mom and Dad.
Double Capricorns. They have an
Yeah.
older brother, too. I don't know whether it's
It's
also a Cap.
irrelevant.
Okay, so I'm trying so hard to pronounce Elin's name correctly, consistently, because it's not spelled that way. Anyway, Elin Maria Pernia Nordegren seems to have had a pretty typical Swedish childhood. And then, again, she's a twin. So as teenagers, she and her sister would, they had little grocery store jobs, whatever, making some pocket money. And she even did some modeling. It was not a passion for her.
I picture them like Sweet Valley High.
A little bit.
Yeah. Oh, it's very Sweet Valley High. It's like Swedish edition.
Yeah, that's the feeling I get. Like, when people, she's not a super public person, but when people talk about her, she's very smart. She's very focused. She's not one to be trifled with. Let's put it that way.
Do you think she's Jessica or Elizabeth? I wonder. I think those were the girls' names in Sweet Valley High. Is that right?
Oh, I don't know. I never read them. Sorry. I was barely a girl. You know that about me. So the scout who discovered her would tell Sports Illustrated years and years later, quote, Elin doesn't care about modeling. She never has. Even the few things I got her to do, I had to drag her into the studio. Being famous, the whole celebrity thing, she really and truly does not care about that.
Okay.
Would like to take a moment to talk about being a modeling scout or a fashion photographer in a Nordic country. Everywhere you turn your head,
let's go to the mailbox.
Are you busy?
Yeah.
Are you busy right this I need just 10 minutes of your time. All right. Anyway, as noted, Elin wasn't really into it, and instead of pursuing modeling, she went to college.
Good for her.
She worked part-time at a clothing store called Champagne.
Of course she did.
Of course she did. I think her sister may have worked there too. It was here that she met Mia Parnevik, wife to Swedish golf star Jesper Parnevik.
Oh.
This is how Jacob Bernstein described the Parneviks in the Daily Beast in 2009. Quote, the Parneviks were sort of like the Posh and Becks of Swedish golf.
Oh.
He was known as much
golf
for...
spice.
Yeah, he was known as much for his disco-inspired trousers and strange hats as for his playing acumen.
Oh.
His wife is something of a shopaholic, hence the fortuitous meeting with Nordegren. So these two were planning a move to America. I would also note, to me, the idea that you're going to leave a well-run European country to come here is crazy to me at this point. I will note, though, that the United States, as far as I know, is unique among the developed countries, and that if you're Swedish and come here, Sweden doesn't tax you. But if you're American and go there,
interesting,
the United States will attempt to tax you.
Huh.
And they usually succeed.
Interesting.
Put it that way. Okay, so they were planning on coming here. They needed a nanny for their kids, and Elin took the job. So in 2001, you have a look.
Go ahead. No, go.
All right. In 2001, when Jesper played at the British Open, he happened to introduce Tiger to his family.
Oh,
and the nanny. Tiger apparently really likes blonde women.
Supercalifragilistic.
That was a little check mark I made with my hand there.
Oh, I heard it.
Okay. Tiger Woods may be smooth like glass on a golf course, but he's apparently pretty useless when it comes to interpersonal stuff.
Oh.
This, of course, will come to seem ironic later in our story. I think he's maybe outgrown that. He was completely taken with Elin, who barely noticed him. Her dream was to become a child psychologist. She had zero interest in golf or golfers, and she definitely did not want to be seen as some sort of Swedish gold digger sleeping her way through her boss's colleagues.
All of this sounds very smart.
Yes. And Tiger...
Oh, no.
Really, the word doofus comes to mind.
Oh.
he didn't know how to talk to her. So he had a friend ask her out, and she was pissed. Like, who does that? That's like ridiculous. Anyway, so she said no.
So he pulls a Cyrano de Bergerac?
Like a little bit.
Found out, caught.
But it turns out she's no dummy. And yeah, she's thoroughly annoyed by it. Very lame. So, like, having some grace for Tiger Woods, this is a guy who is like preternaturally talented at like a weird sport. It's what he's been doing since he was old enough literally to hold a golf club. Like, this is what his dad had him doing. It seems likely he's now in his 20s. He's super rich, but he's like good at one thing. There's literally one thing in life he can do. He's really good at it.
And it's not being smooth with
the ladies. And it's not being smooth with the ladies.
Yeah.
Again, looks like he gets over this.
Apparently.
So a little grace for him for that. Maybe his personality developed a little later than many.
Okay.
So I guess he started kind of strategizing how to make this thing with Elin happen. So he just starts calling Jesper all the time. Like, suddenly they're great friends.
Oh.
Eventually it did work.
Hey, buddy, I got a six-pack. I'm coming over to hang out.
No kidding. Yeah, so it seems like Tiger made their courtship unnecessarily complicated early on, but they ended up having some stuff in common. Like, she had grown up playing soccer, and so, like, they had sports in common, even though, like, she had absorbed a lot of golf knowledge just by being the nanny to
He woos her. They both are sort of temperamentally sort of conservative, very private, very just, I don't know, like, it turns out they had a lot in common. He was a doofus at the start. It took a minute to overcome his own doofiness. Okay, in 2003, they became engaged while on safari in South Africa. Oh, wow.
On October 5th, 2004, Tiger dropped a couple $1 million on their wedding in Barbados.
Whoa.
Yeah, they opted for a band rather than a DJ, and that band was Hootie and the Blowfish.
Oh! Wow.
After the partying and the fireworks were done, lots of fireworks, Anyway, the guests included Charles Barkley, Oprah Winfrey, Bill Gates, Serena Williams.
Holy cats.
And Michael Jordan.
Oh my God.
After all that, Tiger and Elin retired to Tiger's $20 million yacht Privacy.
Well, sure they did.
He was 28, she was 24. And to preserve their privacy, he also rented all the helicopters on the island so no one could peek in from above.
What a genius idea.
And also to accommodate family and guests, but he also bought out the entire 5-star Sandy Lane Resort, whose 110 rooms rent from around $400 to around $4,500 a night. At least back then. I'm sure it's a little more now. Friends, it is fair to say that things seemed auspicious. While Tiger's 03 and 04 seasons were slumps, he roared back in 05, picking up 6 PGA Tour wins and reclaiming the top ranking that he'd lost to Vijay Singh the year before. On the home front, the couple bought a $40 million 10-acre oceanfront estate on Jupiter Island, Florida.
There is a lot of money in some golf.
No state income tax in Florida.
Oh, yeah.
That's where he moved after California. Anyway, so yeah, this is at the end of 05. This estate spans the island from the Atlantic to the Intercoastal Waterway. Just up the road from Jesper and Mia, the Parnaviks, as well as golfers Nick Price and Greg Norman, and for good measure, Celine Dion has a house in the neighborhood. I'm not. This is called one of the most expensive zip codes, or maybe the most expensive zip code in America.
This is some trashy spiderwebs.
Whew. Their first child, Sam Alexis Woods, was born on June 18th, 2007.
Nice.
While Tiger was playing at the U.S. Open.
Oh.
Yeah, so Elin was hospitalized with complications ahead of the delivery. I guess he came in second, but basically he came off the course and hopped a plane back to Florida. So he would tell the press later it wasn't life-threatening or anything, but she just had a few problems and had to be admitted. It was not easy because I wanted to be there. And the doctor and Elin said, there's nothing you can do, so go out there and just get a W. Well, I came close. But that night was infinitely more rewarding than any W ever could have been.
Aw, well, that's nice.
Yeah, so, Elin came through it like a champ. Whatever the complication was, it did not, in fact, seem serious. And the two were rapidly enveloped in new parent things, diapers, feedings, not sleeping, etc. An old Stanford teammate of Tiger's named Nota Begay, maybe, told the press around this time, "You've got to understand, when you grow up with a father with a military background, you've got to learn how to focus when you're getting yelled at, and you've got to learn how to focus when you have distractions." So, baby number 2, Charlie Axel Woods, joined the family in early February 2009.
Wow.
It is fair to note that this is probably the last high watermark for the marriage of Tiger Woods and Elin Nordegren.
Yeah, because it sounds good so far.
So far.
Great.
Great.
Story. Nice. Super
Great.
nice.
Great. Yeah. Thanksgiving 2009.
Oh.
The National Enquirer published a hit piece alleging that Tiger was having an affair with a New York nightclub hostess who had joined him most recently in Melbourne, Australia, while Tiger played the Australian Masters.
Yikes. I guess Elin was home with the kids.
Both of them denied the affair. But then this other thing happened. It's just time travel, because a lot of people will remember this. So we're going to call this the one-car crash heard round the world. So in the early morning hours of November 27th, 2 days after the Enquirer piece landed, police were called to the Woods mansion after Tiger lost control of his Cadillac Escalade at 2:25 a.m. after pulling out of his driveway, crashing into a fire hydrant and then a tree in his neighbor's yard.
Oh, my.
Alcohol was not involved, according to police. The detail that caught the world's attention was that Elin smashed out the back window of the SUV with a golf club. The official story is that this was done to help free Tiger, who was, of course, sitting 1.5 miles up in the driver's seat, because those are not small cars. Like, I think the story was that the doors were locked, and so she was trying to somehow... Yeah, it's not a...
I bet if you looked in their garage, you'd find a bunch of broken glass.
I don't want to say anything, but...
That's
okay.
Suspicious. One car accident.
No
drugs, no alcohol.
2:25 in the morning in his own driveway, basically.
Nothing good happens after 2 a.m. Back window smashed out, golf club, wife in hand. Yeah.
Yeah. So when police arrived, because the neighbor called the cops, he was laid out on the ground with Elin frantically hovering over him, and he was in and out of consciousness. He was apparently mumbling. He didn't, like, the cops said he didn't say anything clear.
Oh, my.
His lips were bloody, and he had blood in his mouth, possibly from striking the steering wheel with his face, which would imply he was not buckled in. And again, this is a very cautious human being. Like, this is just a very kind of straight up kind of guy. It's hard to think that he would not buckle himself in.
Well, if your wife is coming after you with a golf club in her hand, you probably get in the car to go. You probably get yourself out of the situation.
Yeah, this story really took off like a rocket. So this is a part that I remember really clearly. There was this Taiwanese animation house that started making all of these weird, like, videos of, like, what probably happened, they think, versus, like, what authorities say.
Dramatic reenactment.
They're just so weird. And I remember at the time, I mean, because it got played on television everywhere because...
Sure, it was big news.
Yeah, like, CNN was trying to get to the bottom of this. And, I mean, it was chaos. And so then...
It was a simpler time.
It really was. The stuff we were focused on back then. Yeah, I think I recall, like, this studio got picked up to make all kinds of weird, like the Jimmy Kimmel Show or something, so some late night thing I used to watch back then, had them kind of churning out stuff for all occasions. It was neat. Okay, so yeah, then there are these weird Taiwanese videos out there, like, that are speculating about what might have happened, and I think the widely held idea that has always been denied by Tiger and Elin and everyone who knows them is that basically the two of them had a late night fight. Tiger tried either to flee or storm off in a huff, something. Elin chased him out to the garage with a golf club, and that the accident actually happened because Tiger was distracted by her smashing the back window as he tried to get away.
Pull out of the, yeah.
Yeah. And in the aftermath, he did not make himself available to talk to the police.
Ooh, that's...
Like, he was hospitalized for a few hours, sent home, and then, like, Florida troopers came by the next day, and he was asleep. And then the day after that, they came by, and then there was, like, someone from the Tiger Woods business on hand to tell him where they could go talk, which was not to Tiger Woods and not at that house. And then,
interesting.
Yeah, they eventually closed their investigate. Like, it just became clear that there was going to be no...
Golf Island PD out.
Yeah, Tiger was not going to risk perjuring himself to... Anyway.
So what's happening with Tiger and Elin in the house? This is uncomfortable.
I mean, they're covering something up. Okay. Sorry, pure speculation there. I have no evidence whatsoever. Again, this National Enquirer story had been out for a couple days, and more women start coming forward to dish about their affairs with him in more and more publications.
Oh, no.
So Tiger released statements like
I guess he worked out his problems with the ladies, huh?
Oh, just wait.
Oh, no.
So Tiger's releasing statements, taking the blame for everything, making perfectly clear that Elin was without fault, that he had betrayed his own values, that she was not part of the late night crash, and basically that he's an asshole and she's the best wife and mother in existence, which
is perfectly what you should be saying.
That is, for a guy in that situation, that is the
what you say.
Best you can do. And if it had been like a couple of dalliances here and there, maybe things would have gone differently. For her part, Elin has never chased fame, so she stayed pretty quiet. She sat down with a CNN reporter at one point and was kind of like, look, I didn't have any reason to suspect anything was going on. I had 2 babies.
I was busy.
Going to college. Mm-hmm. I'm like, because she's still studying psychology. Like, she graduates in 2014.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Finally, with her degree in psychology. Yeah, like, she's doing her own thing. She's living her best life. She's, like, married to a rich dude, and he travels a lot with work. And anyway, so all of that entirely reasonable stuff. But within a couple weeks, there were, like, a dozen women claiming affairs with Tiger, and many of them had stuff like voicemails and text messages to share. A Los Angeles cocktail waitress named Jamie Grubbs claimed to have had a 31-month-long affair with him.
Oh, my.
Which, again, is just a different thing than a random
One
hookup.
night, yeah.
So this prompted Tiger to release a statement admitting to transgressions.
You think?
He withdrew from his own golf tournament to avoid having to talk to the press about everything. And in fairness, the press's appetite and the public's appetite for the story was pretty insatiable for a while. And Yahoo's then CEO, Carol Bartz, told investors that Tiger's misfortune was, quote, better than Michael Jackson dying in terms of traffic and ad revenue.
Oh.
So I think we can all be pretty confident that Carol Bartz will be ending up in the bad place.
For sure.
Sponsors fled. Not all of them, though, but like a lot. It's what you would expect, right? Like, he was a brand, and this is not a great...
The brand got smashed by a golf club.
Yeah, not a great thing to do to your brand. Tiger announced a hiatus from golf, like indefinite, to focus on his marriage. And meanwhile, the New York club hostess, who had initially denied that affair in Melbourne, Australia, blah, 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 she herself was shocked by the sheer number of women coming forward and reports of things like Tiger having unprotected sex with porn stars.
Because she thought he was only unfaithful with her?
So she announced that she was getting tested for sexually transmitted diseases, more or less confirming that. Yeah, the number by this point is more than 15, I think.
Wow.
Tiger checked himself into rehab for sex addiction.
Good for him.
And there was some suggestion early in the new year, because again, this happened over Thanksgiving weekend, so sometime later, that Elin went to spend some days with him, do some counseling with him, and considered not divorcing him after that. Like, again, He really screwed up, right?
Put the penis in your pants, man.
Okay. In February, he took to the podium at a Florida golf club to speak publicly about everything for the first time. And he really took responsibility. Like,
well, that's stand up.
Yeah. And after making this podcast for more than a year,
we don't see that very often.
Yeah, let's pause and praise that level of basic decency.
Good job, Tiger.
Having covered world-class scumbags like Ike Turner, Newt Gingrich, Rudy Giuliani, and even Charles Dickens, it is refreshing to see a guy who has genuinely royally screwed up say, hey, I suck and I need to do better. Which is basically what he said.
No, A+. That's
so props
good.
To you, Tiger. So he and Elin did divorce. The decree was finalized on August 23rd, 2010.
Wow.
And because Florida has incredible public records laws, it's a public document, and we'll put it with all of our other resources at trashydivorces.com.
Oh, my.
The specifics of the settlement were not formally made public, but reporting has it that Elin got $100 million or so.
Fantastic.
And their lawyers issued a statement that said, quote, while we are no longer married, we are the parents of 2 wonderful children, and their happiness has been and will always be of paramount importance to us. Once we came to the decision that our marriage was at an end, the primary focus of our amicable discussions has been to ensure their future well-being.
Well, this is all very good.
Yeah, again, it sucks about all the cheating, but A+ on the aftermath. For both of them, really. In 2014, Elin praised Tiger in an interview with People magazine, saying that their relationship at that point was anchored to their children and that they're all doing really well and that Tiger's a great father. So, like, he was seeing Lindsey Vonn, the skier. Is that what she does?
Sure. Go Badgers.
Fellow freakishly good athlete, Lindsey Vonn. And yeah, like Elin and Lindsey became friends. She was seeing someone, and like, apparently the 4 of them would socialize from time to time.
Well,
like,
there you go.
Yeah, way better than you would expect.
Like, sometimes we're just not meant to be married, and that's okay.
Right, and it's worth noting that Tiger has not remarried.
Really?
Nor has Elin, for that matter.
Interesting.
And as noted, she graduated from Rollins College in 2014 with a bachelor's in psychology.
Go Badgers! I'm just kidding.
Well done. Well done. So one thing I thought was really wonderful and very telling about her character is that her post-divorce house was a $12 million mansion built in the 1920s, about 25 minutes away from the mansion with Tiger.
Wow.
So the kids stay close. So she buys the place and has architects and all that come out to assess it.
1920s glamour.
I know, it sounds wonderful. So, and, Palm Beach area, basically.
Great, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So they told her that it would cost more to bring the existing structure up to the current hurricane codes than tearing it down and starting fresh wood. And so I think most people in her situation would be like, cool, and they'd call the demolition team. She called Habitat for Humanity.
What? This is awesome.
Mm-hmm,
and they came and
She gave them a month to take whatever you want.
That is, can you imagine?
Oh, yeah.
The fixtures, the tiles,
a 12-foot fountain spouting water out of 3 lions' mouths.
Whoa.
Wine refrigerators, a bunch of refrigerators. A lot of furniture was still in it.
Amazing.
But yeah, I'm sure the hardware and doors and there
just
were probably
free. Come on and
windows.
take it. That's awesome.
Yeah, they had a big auction. In October 2019, so really just a few months ago, Elin gave birth to a son with former NFL player Jordan Cameron. This is her 3rd child. Don't know the kid's name. Doesn't matter. Tiger's career definitely went through a rough patch during this period. So I think he had been dealing with a leg injury at the time that all of this broke. So between sort of those physical problems and then just the psychological distraction of a scandal and a divorce and all that.
He also went back for eye surgery again, right? He's had 2 of them.
Yeah, I think that may have been in 2007, so that may have been before.
Can't see the forest for the trees.
Oh, look at you.
Sorry.
Look at you.
I had one good joke, and it's going to go bad from now.
Okay, so his next few seasons were tough. Then he had serious back trouble, needed multiple surgeries to correct that in 2015 and 2016. So he really had a bad close to a decade. He did roar back once again at the season closer in 2018, just up the road at the East Lake Golf Club.
Oh, yeah.
Which always screws up traffic in our
like
area.
Nobody's business.
Hate it. They wrap the whole fencing in black cloth.
Ridiculous.
And they're and then there are just white people in dumb clothes wandering around a lot. Okay. After winning the Masters in 2019, he was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
Huh.
So.
What?
Yeah.
By Trump?
I left that out. This was a super, super trashy scandal when it happened. So for that, I'm going to give Tiger Woods 18 trash cans.
Fantastic.
All with a little flag sticking out of them. 18 is the number of major championships that golf legend Jack Nicklaus won during his career. And that is the number that Tiger Woods has always had the goal of beating. And he very well might. He is, I think, 3 behind right now.
Okay.
He is 43 or 44.
He's got the eye of the tiger. It's in him.
Yeah, Jack Nicklaus won the Masters for the last time when he was 46. He was the oldest player to do so.
Okay.
But just given how different, like, lifelong athletes, that whole process of how you, like, diet and stay in shape and just all of that is very different today than it was when Jack Nicklaus was active, and mostly in the 60s through the 80s were his peak years. I suspect that Tiger Woods will eventually hit that number, that 19 number that he wants.
So
anyway,
18 trash cans topped with red flags.
With little red flags. But I also think that some halos are in order as well for both Tiger and Elin, who have really handled their post-marriage very, very well and seem to have made their children, like, the most important thing in their lives.
That's the way you do it. Didn't work out with us. Not the kid's fault.
Not the kid's fault.
Good on you, Tiger and Elin.
Yeah. I mean, it was trashy. I've always lived in a hermetically sealed bubble, and even, like, that even penetrated my, like, down with the world.
No, it was a lot. It was hot news.
It was hot news.
This week has been fun. Trashy on 2 different sides of the fence.
Yeah, for sure.
Whoa.
So anyway, there it is. Eye of the Tiger.
That was awesome. Well done.
Thanks.
This week, I'm super excited. Coming up on Patreon.
We do have some business to attend to now.
Trashy Tutors is back. Oh, April in Paris is launching on Wednesday. That is going to be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got a flaming dumpster fire this week coming up.
I think I may have mentioned it last week too, but I did not get around to actually getting it done. But yeah, we're going to have the Jimmy Swaggart story going up sometime this week.
And, oh, God, Falling Waters. There's like 9 things out of my story. Trashy tidbits. Don't forget.
Yeah, I've got some tidbits about Tiger's dad that are
fantastic. There's always, can't stop, won't stop. There's always something happening around here. So lots of new stuff coming on Patreon. Are you ready to draw for next week?
I am. Yes. You ready?
We have our mugs by
We do.
Lauren F., who they have cats on them.
They're
do. Awesome.
They do. Mine says, not today, patriarchy.
You go first next week, so I'll let you draw first.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to put my glasses on so I can read.
Okay, and we're not announcing. We're giving a hint.
No, just giving a hint.
Okay.
I want you to give a hint, and then I want to see who you have.
This one gets requested a lot. My hint, I guess we'll just stare into the abyss of all of his true lies.
Let me see. Oh, okay, that's good. All right, I'm going to do mine. That's the one. Oh. This is heavily listener requested.
Okay.
He's not as good of a guy as you'd imagine. Look.
Oh, okay. All right.
We'll be back.
All right.
Next Sunday.
That should be an interesting
with 2
episode.
new trashy divorces. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. You are the very best. Get your free trash candy at bit.ly trash candy quarantine.
There's a slash in there, but yes.
Until then,
keep it trashy.
Keep it so trashy.
Stay safe, too.
Wash your hands. Thanks, everybody, again for tuning in. You literally are the best community ever. And I forgot to say that my mug has a cat with a tiara, and it says, "May you have the confidence of a cat who has 0 fucks left to give."
That is like the prayer for every day.
Pretty much, but only inside your home. Do it like as an inside cat. That's it.
Yeah.
Keep it trashy, friends.
Yep.
Talk with you next week.
Bye.
Bye. Trash Pandas, thanks for listening. Trashy Divorces is written and produced by us, Stacie and Alicia, for Hemlock Creatives.
You can contact us at trashydivorces@gmail.com. Our art is by Sydney V. Smith, sydneyvsmith@carbonmade.com.
And our music is used with permission of Ratsy. You can find her at Ratsy's store on Instagram. Check out episode sources, photos, soundtracks, merch store, and more at trashydivorces.com.
Need more trash candy?
Our Patreon community includes some of the bestest humans around, as well as a bunch of bonus content every week.
Join the fun at patreon.com/trashydivorces.
Last but not least, come play with us on social.
We are at Trashy Divorces at Instagram, which Alicia mostly runs.
Twitter, which Stacie mostly runs.
And on Facebook, which we
split.
split.
We also have a Trashy Divorces discussion group on Facebook if you want to chat with other Trashy Divorces listeners.
Thanks again for listening.
Keep it trashy, y'all.